Crusher. And the Crusher and Gary Porter have their work cut out going against Gravedigger. And for years, these two have been old rivals. They know each other very, very well. Both hail from North Carolina. And it is going to be some showdown.
You know, Gary Porter is here because he keeps his truck together and he is consistent. Remember, Gunslinger beat him in the quarterfinals, but Gunslinger's broke. Gary Porter able to make the call. He's done that for years. Not only is he a great racer, he keeps his equipment together. Now, though, he knows he's got to go full out to beat Gravedigger.
Let's remember that Dennis Anderson has had a little problem with his back as he points that nose down over that first jump. He said, you know, that's a problem. It almost knocks the wind out of him. So we'll see what happens and how it affects him as now they come around and take this final turn. Digger. Oh, my! Gravedigger!
What a piece of driving. What an incredible save that was, Mike.
Crusher's going to win. Digger could not get around that turn, but really did a great job of saving this truck from going over. You really see the talent of one Dennis Anderson when you watch after this straightaway making that final turn. I don't see how he kept it from going.
It also shows you how focused he is because, you remember, he's been very upset after what happened in the controversy after the bulldozer thing. To make that move, that was an amazing drive.
Wow.
One hell of a ride.
I say one heck of a save is what I say. Yeah, I guess I flew into that turn there, and I think I was pushing a little harder than I really should have. Kind of got up off the throttle, kind of like Indy, but just a little faster motion. Flipped it up on his side. I had a Detroit locker in the rear this time so I could drive out. But a lot of times you drive out, I save the truck, because I definitely would have turned over if I tried to make that turn. Drove out, saved the truck, but lost the race. You can't win them all.
You can't win them all, but you lost to a fellow Carolina boy.
Hey, that's right, man. If I'm going to lose, I'd love to lose to another Carolina boy, no doubt about that. Right here in St. Louis, Missouri. This is where Barefoot's from, Monster Patrol, Bulldozer, Barefoot, and Bigfoot's around here, but he's not here tonight. But this is their stomping grounds.
I mean, if you're going to lose the race, that's the way to lose a race.
That's right, losing style.
Isn't that you, Dennis?
That's it, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Dennis.
Wow, what a save by Dennis Anderson. And how about Gary Porter, who has just hung tough, stayed consistent, and now finds himself in the finals of the World Championship.
Well, you've got to be lucky and good at this sport. We already know Gary's good. A little bit of luck has gone his way tonight. And indeed, he comes around just running his smart, conservative race. He was very much in it. They were close when Dennis started to go over and had to save the truck. Gary Porter is in the finals.
Gary, no matter what they say, it's the finals.
Yeah, it sure is. I guess I got that big old rabbit's foot with me tonight. You know, Gunslinger, you know, he beat me in the quarterfinals there and had some breakage and couldn't come back. And then Dennis, I was sort of eyeing on him. I knew if it was just flat out running, you know, he'd probably beat me to that end down there. And I was like, but he might get down there and just mess up. And so I was just sort of riding out there. You know, I was watching him in that turn to see what he done. And when I, you know, seen that he had messed up, I just took advantage of it and come on across the finish line.
Congratulations to Gary Porter and Carolina Crusher. Now, our next semifinal, Reptoid, Jim Jack, who many would say might be a little bit surprised to be here, to be this far, but he has earned his spot, and he'll be facing Barefoot. Barefoot didn't beat Sampson, but Sampson broke, so Barefoot is here. It's Barefoot and Reptoid.
You know, it's the same situation. Carolina Crusher taking advantage of being able to keep his truck together and the problems for the Gunslinger, then for the Gravedigger. Barefoot, same situation. Sampson not able to make the call for the semifinals. Brian Womack gets an opportunity at redemption. If he can knock off Reptoid, he'll go to the finals.
Brian Womack, the native of St. Louis, makes that first turn with ease. He's got a lot of horsepower under that hood. Womack looking awfully strong, making the final turn here. Womack is way out in front. Reptoid had to slow down a little bit on that turn, and it's going to be Barefoot. Brian Womack making it to the finals.
This is not to beat a dead horse here, because I've said it before, but I got to say it again. If you're going to beat Barefoot, do not let him have the lead coming off the final turn, because he is just going to out-hammer you. Reptoid was behind at that point, and he was done. Jim Jack having a good run right here. Again, didn't get himself in any trouble, but, you know, on the straightaways, just didn't have the power to keep up with Barefoot. And again, when you're looking at Barefoot in that position, when you make that turn and you square up and you see the side of his truck, it's over. And it was over for Reptoid.
Let's look at Barefoot's run, and what a job Brian Womack has done. His first run was a little shaky. He didn't quite make the turns all that smoothly, but this is a much, much different run on this course. Every turn was nailed, and as we talked about the horsepower, when he made this turn right here, watch him get back on this throttle. It is over with. Over with. Brian Womack in the finals in Barefoot.
All right, Brian, look at that.
Yeah, I like it. You know, I just got done racing Jim Jack. He's a hard guy to win against, you know, but I don't know if he bobbled out there a little bit, but I got the lead on him, and we kept it.
I got to tell you, it looked like the strongest race Barefoot had this evening.
Yeah, I like that lane. It was real smooth. You know, I think I just got a little intimidated racing Sampson last time, and just kind of messed the corner up a little bit and kind of straightened it out this time.
I'm telling you, that hometown crowd thing is really working for you, Brian.
Yeah, I know. I can't wait to go to the finals and race the quarter, you know, but he's hard to beat, too. Hopefully I can get it done.
Now you got to call Todd, too, and say, Todd, I'm in the finals, man.
Yeah, you bet I'm going to do it as soon as I get home.
Well, we'll have the finals for you, the showdown between Barefoot and Carolina Crusher. Stay tuned for more Motor Madness Monster Jam.
Homestyle pastas from Chef Boyardee.
Yes, folks, we are down to it. Brian Womack and Barefoot in the finals against Gary Porter and Carolina Crusher. Scott, I think this is going to be a good showdown here.
Absolutely. And you know, it's not a break unless you can take advantage of it. Both trucks were beaten in earlier rounds, but they were able to keep their equipment together. And because the trucks that knocked them off couldn't come back, they have now both earned their way into the finals. And you've got two of the most storied truck teams in history, the Carolina Crusher team and the Barefoot team. One of them is coming out of the TNN World Finals in St. Louis with the big trophy held high. Even though Dennis Anderson's the point champion, everybody came here wanting to win. One of these two guys is the man tonight.
Well, both trucks are staged now, and the start is very, very important for both of these guys.
Again, Gary doesn't want to be in that last turn looking at Barefoot like we just talked about.
And it was Barefoot who got out to a pretty good start. Both trucks make their turn fairly smooth. Barefoot looking awfully strong, though. The start went to Barefoot, and that is always tough to overcome. Final turn. Looks like it's Barefoot out in front just a bit. Gary Porter's trying, but he can't catch him. Barefoot wins the World Championship here in St. Louis. And the hometown guy, Brian Womack, a great win.
What a great story. And Brian Womack is the happiest guy in the state of Missouri right now. Looking at the ISO, Gary Porter again did nothing wrong. Had a solid run, an excellent run, made no big mistakes. But again, I felt like he had to get into that final turn with at least a truck length advantage if he was going to beat Barefoot. He was not in an advantage situation. They were basically even, and Barefoot put him away on the final jump. Good run, though, by Porter.
Yeah, it was a great run, and certainly I think this has to give him a little encouragement after what has been kind of a tough season for Gary Porter and Carolina Crusher. Now, here is Barefoot. Brian Womack got off to the great start. His turn was really smooth. You get a sense of the horsepower under the hood of that truck.
Talk about Barefoot. Guy redeeming himself. I'll tell you what, he had an awful run against Sampson, but he got over it, came back, and that was beautiful in the final round. He's the champion tonight.
Brian Womack.
Brian, come on. You did not expect this. This is incredible.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Racing Gary Porter, I got so much respect for that guy. He's one of the best in the business. Getting it pulled off on his turning course like that, it's a great job. I can't believe I did it.
But I go back to the same thing I said to you before. It's the hometown crowd. There's more pressure there, but there's more cheering, more energy behind you. It worked tonight.
Oh, I tell you what, these people have me so pumped up. It's not even funny. I mean, I'm so nervous right now. I'd rather do it again, you know. But the crowd is great. Doing it in our hometown, winning like this is the biggest show Pace ever put on. 16 trucks. It's awesome.
We'll be back to talk to our series champion. That's Dennis Anderson from Gravediggers. Coming up next on Motor Madness.
Well, the board behind you doesn't say that you won St. Louis, but this says right here, TNN Motor Madness Monster Truck Champion. That's for 1999. That's a long season.
Hey, man, it has been a long season. I'd just like to thank Pace Motorsports